Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has long struggled with political and religious instability. As a result, 60% of the population is below the poverty line. Education is not a priority. Learning is a nightmare for students all across the nation. The literacy rate is only 65%. Education spending has decreased by 30% since 1996. Only private schools, specifically Catholic schools, which have been functioning successfully for decades, are making a meaningful impact in Nigeria.
The church is doing what the government should do because the government is not doing it, first thing. Secondly, even if the government were doing it, we believe that the church also has a role to play in social development of the people.
Full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst women, and blessed the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death.
Et là encore, ce n'est pas propre au Nigeria.
This is not just characteristic of Nigeria. Everywhere in Africa, education proposed by the Catholic Church is the best. Not only is it a model education in the spiritual sense, but also it is an education in the literal meaning of the word, an education of the individual.
In Nigeria, most schools are bereft of learning resources, tools and instruments. They are underfunded and poorly managed. Local districts lack the basic tools required to manage schools, conduct inspections, and train new staff and monitor teachers' performance. Most of the teachers are overstretched and overburdened with large classes of between 50 and 90 pupils, well beyond UNESCO recommendations, and well beyond the norm of 20 to 30 pupils per class in advanced nations.
In our school, we don't want to fatigue the children by cramming them into classrooms, as is often done in Africa. There are often 60 children in one class. We, on the other hand, decided that there should be no more than 30, a maximum 32 children per class. Our classrooms are big. They could easily hold more kids, but then teaching a child in those conditions does not bear fruit. The teacher cannot give more. Ultimately, the biggest loser is the child. As a result of our standpoint, the Minister of Education gave our school the mark of an academy, one of the first of such marks in Nigeria.
Although Nigeria's educational institutions in general are in dire need, the most troubled of the three tiers is the primary education sector. There are over 2,000 primary schools in Nigeria with no buildings of any type. Classes are often held under trees.
Because what is taught in the so-called government institutions is nothing to write home about. No proper teaching, because there is nothing to encourage the children in the school. If you go around the primary schools, there are no doors, there are no windows, there are no seats for the children. They sit on the ground. But when we were running school, things were very different.
Despite very poor conditions and lack of support from the Nigerian government, the Catholic Church has always made a positive difference, from the time of the earliest missions in the 19th century to the present day. Literacy courses are offered to the poorest country dwellers in their native tongue.
So this class now is the Hausa class, because since they don't speak the local language, they have their own different dialects. So we couldn't teach the different dialects, so we use Hausa for them. Just literacy. There's the literacy class now. Catechism class is on Sundays. So every other days they have literacy classes. Everybody wants to learn how to read and write. Just as it said that if you sleep in the dark, you don't need to be told that the day has break. Now in the villages, they discover that if you are not literate, something is lacking you. And so there is this year, anywhere you go, first of all, if they accept to become Christians, the next question they will ask is that, Father, I want to learn how to read and write.
We tell them that education is light, education is freedom. During the dry season, when the farm work is over, we put on literacy courses where people will come, sometimes even whole families will come. The husband and the wife, they will come and we'll do literacy with them.
Providing literacy for the Nigerian people is not the first step in the education given by the Catholic Church. Local dialects are often written down so that people can feel comfortable in their learning. The Bishop of Cantagura has always believed that communicating in the local tongue with the people is the only effective method of education.
There's a proverb which says, when you come into a new area, you must respect the culture and the language. And it said, never forget that God was there before you came. When we came to northern Borgu, which is across the Niger, the local language, the local Kemberi language was only oral. It was a spoken language, it wasn't written. So then I saw in the rural villages, there was no good talking to them in Hausa. They wouldn't hear you. So I said, we'll have to do something. So I did a course on linguistics. Then I set up a team with myself and we got the language written down. Then I set up a Bible translation team. We have now printed the 4 Gospels in the Kemberi language. The New Testament is already in computer and we are doing revisions at the moment on it.
Dans le diocèse de Kontagora,
in the Diocese of Contabara, we met a 30-year-old woman. She learned to read just 3 months prior by reading our Bible for Kids in the Hausa language. Throughout the diocese, we discovered by what method these men, women and children learn to read and write. During these literacy courses, they really desire to learn, and they do so with great passion.
If you educate a boy or a girl, when they come back, they call others, and they pass on literacy to other people in the village as well. So literacy, very often, it's like lighting a fire. After a while, it continues from itself.
There's another block of classroom, about 4 classrooms, laboratory, library, and a hall this way.
Yes, it means it's not only primary school with laboratory.
Yeah.
Funding for the building of schools in Nigeria is scarce. Catholic communities do what they can, however, it is never enough. Father Anthony, who collected money in his own parish, is looking for support. Aid to the Church in Need has committed funds for the completion of his project.
By mid this year, we should be able to begin the use of the hall, because I think they are 90, I would say 85% completed, just to do the fittings, and they will begin to use it.
In places such as the Nazareth School in Kaduna, where the Nazareth Sisters have governed a primary school since 1998, children receive a sound education. The sisters provide each child with 1 meal per school day, books, as well as uniforms. Class size is small and the curriculum is engaging and varied. Besides our regular school curriculum, we have developed computer courses, which the children take during the regular day. We also have home economics courses, French classes. We are thinking of opening a kind of workshop, which we don't have, and whose role is very important.